It's day 25, and we're going to dig a little bit deeper into those subroutines to see if we can get them to send information back to the main bit of the program. Now, the way we do this is with a return command. And what it does is it sends some information back to the part of the code that called it. This means the function call is replaced in code with whatever was returned. That might be a bit of a head scratcher, but we've seen it work before. When we imported a library from elsewhere and we generated a random number, we could use that random number wherever we wanted. That's because that function call was being replaced with the random number because it was in itself a subroutine. We could then do whatever we wanted with it in code, and we're going to do that exact same thing today. In this program, I've written a subroutine that is going to create a random pin number for us, which is quite cool. The way it's doing this uses a few tricks we've seen so far. It's using a subroutine called pin picker that takes in the parameter number. That is how many numbers I want to have in this pin. It's then going to create a string called pin with nothing in it and use a for loop to go through and create a number of random numbers. The variable number here controls the amount of times the loop will add a new number to the pin. The way it's doing that is in a really sneaky way. We're using the plus equal symbol to glue or concatenate in new values. And we're doing that by casting the random number that's generated as a string, so it can be concatenated together. Then the magic happens. I'm going to return the pin. Let's see what happens. Oh, not a lot. Now, why is this? Well, although the pin is being returned, what's happening is that line 8 that calls for a 4-digit pin is being replaced by that 4-digit pin. In the same way that a line of code might have something like this in it. Whilst that line of code is a perfectly valid string, we're not telling the computer to do anything with it. So a valid string just appears and the computer goes, cool. How do we make a string appear in the console? You're right, print. So in order to do something with this, I need to allocate it to a variable and now print it out. What's going to happen this time is that this part of the code is going to return the number. It's going to be replaced by the pin number. Then the rest of the code will be evaluated normally. My pin will be a variable that stores that number and then we'll print it out. There we go. A random pin number generator for the security conscious in all of you. Take some time to build this and see what it does. So here's another subroutine where we can see a common problem. We'll run it and I'm sure you can already guess what this problem is. Yes, we just haven't done anything with the value. It's being returned now, but nothing's happening with it. So once again, we can store that if we want, and we can print out that value. Notice here that area is a different value in both cases. Here's another common mistake. We're trying to do exactly the same thing, but it's claiming area isn't defined. You and me both can see that area is defined inside that subroutine. So just what is going on? Well, this is where we get into a concept called scope. And scope is when a variable is created, how long is it available for in the code? Variables that are created for the first time in a subroutine are only available inside that subroutine. So we have to be careful to not call it outside of it. Printing area is basically printing nothing at this point because area only exists in the subroutine. Line 5 will be replaced by the number that comes back from the subroutine. So if I were to call that area, then we've created a variable that will work. Try and fix my code for me for the next few minutes. Pause the video and go squash some bugs. Now, your challenge today, I did say, would extend what we did last time a little bit. and we are going to create a character stats generator. You're going to create a subroutine that rolls a dice of any size and returns that number. You're then going to create a further subroutine that rolls one 6-sided dice and one 8-sided dice, multiplies the number together and returns it as a character's health. Now, this is quite a genuine way of doing that sort of thing in a video game, creating some random numbers, multiplying them together, doing something with it to give us the health stats or something like that of a character that's being generated in your game. We're going to create the health stat for our character and print it out on the screen. Extra marks if you ask for the name of the character, and top marks if you put the stats in different colours. Once you've done that, share your character stat generator with us using the publish function and the hashtag Replit 100 days of code. Now we've got a better idea of how subroutines are working, let's look at another library. We're going to look at the OS library, which allows you to control the console.